All right, second grade, we are going to read part 2 of Thank You, Mr. Falker. So remember, last time we left off, we were talking about our main character. Anybody remember who the main character is? Trisha. Yep. And then we were just at the page where she was talking with her grandmother, and her grandmother said, "You're the smartest, quickest, and dearest little thing ever." Right then, the little girl felt safe in her grandma's arms. Reading didn't matter so much. Let's see what happens. Let me scoot over a little bit. There we go. Trisha's grandma used to say that the stars were holes in the sky. They were the light of heaven coming from the other side. And she used to say that someday she would be on the other side where the light comes from. One evening, they lay on the grass together and counted the lights from heaven. "You know," her grandma said, "all of us will go there someday. Hang on to the grass or you'll lift off the ground and there you'll be." They laughed and both hung on to the grass. But it was not long after that night that her grandma must have let go of the grass, because she went to where the lights were on the other side. And not long after that, Trisha's grandpa let go of the grass too. School seemed harder and harder now. Reading was just plain torture. When Sue Ellen read her page, or Tommy Bob read his page, they read so easily that Trisha would watch the top of their heads to see if something was happening to their heads that wasn't happening to hers. And numbers were the hardest thing of all to read. She never added anything right. "Line the numbers up before you add them," the teacher would say. When Trisha tried, the numbers looked like stacks of blocks, wobbly and ready to fall. She just knew she was dumb. Then, one day, her mother announced that she had gotten a teaching job in California, a long way from the family farm in Michigan. So now we know the main character. We know the setting has changed, right? So what was the setting beforehand? There, in the very beginning, we talked about the setting here, right? So how has the setting changed now? Even though her grandma and grandpa were gone, the little girl didn't want to move. Maybe, though, the teachers and kids in her new school wouldn't know how dumb she was. She and her mother and brother moved across the country in a two-tone 1949 Plymouth. It took 5 days. There's their two-tone Plymouth. But at the new school, it was the same. When she tried to read, her words stumbled. She stumbled over her words. The cat ran. She was reading like a baby in the 3rd grade. When her teacher read along with them and called on Trisha for an answer, she gave the wrong answer every time. "Hey, dummy," a boy called to her on the playground. "How come you're so dumb?" Other kids stood near him and they laughed. Trisha could feel the tears burning in her eyes. How she longed to go back to her grandparents' farm in Michigan. How do you think Trisha's feeling right now? How do you know? Now Trisha wanted to go to school less and less. "I have a sore throat," she'd say to her mother, or "I have a stomach ache." She dreamed more and more and drew more and more, and she hated school. Then, when Trisha started 5th grade, the school was all a buzz. There was a new teacher. He was tall and elegant. Everybody loved his striped coat and slick gray pants. He wore the neatest clothes. All the usual teacher's pets gathered around him: Stevie Joe and Alice Marie, Davy and Michael Lee. But right from the start, it didn't seem to matter to Mr. Falker which kids were the cutest or the smartest or the best at anything. So now we have a new character, right? What's his name again? You got it. Mr. Falker would stand behind Trisha whenever she was drawing and whisper, "This is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Do you know how talented you are?" When he said this, Even the kids who teased her would turn around in their seats and look at her drawings. But they still laughed whenever she gave the wrong answer. Then one day she had to stand up and read, which she hated. She was stumbling through a page in Charlotte's Web, and the page was going all fuzzy when the kids began to laugh out loud. Mr. Falker, in his play jacket and his butterfly tie, said, "Stop! Are you all so perfect that you can look at another person and find fault with her?" So what's he doing right now? What's he telling his other students? Why do you think he's saying that? Awesome. I want you to think about this and think about what might happen the next part of the story. We'll get back to it the next time.